Good morning. How are you today? I'm happy to see everyone here today, and I'm pretty sure that you're interested in seeing what we're going to be talking about today or listening to what we're going to be talking to today. What would you do if you couldn't fail? This is an interesting topic. I got up this morning, asked myself that question according to a lot of the questions I've been getting from these videos. I wrote a small brief about it. Let's hear it. Okay. What would you do if you couldn't fail? What would you do if you couldn't fail? What would be some of the things that you would want to accomplish? Uh, what are some of the limitations that you break away from that are now holding you back? What are some of the dreams that you would love to live and to experience if you knew you couldn't fail? What are some of the things that you really have to ask yourself? What are some of the things that I really like to be doing right now? Why is it that I'm making the choices that I'm doing right now? Why am I in the situation that I'm doing right now? These are some of the questions that you have to question yourself. I usually do this type of thinking analysis first thing in the morning. Why? Because your mind has been shut off all night, and there's less distractions in the morning. There's less people trying to come and talk to you. As soon as your day begins to start and you begin to getting input from everywhere, your mind is always calculating. It's always doing four types of things. It's always adding a thing or subtracting a thing. It's always multiplying the thing or dividing the thing. And so by the time most of the day is gone, our brains have been saturated with choices and decisions that we've been making throughout the day. So the best time to catch ourselves, to make the right choices and decisions, or to be able to be set free to be able to imagine and to think in ways that give us freedom of thought, is early in the morning. This is actually biblical. Jesus Christ would get up early in the morning, go to the mountaintop to converse with the Master, with the Father, and so that he could get his instructions that he needed throughout the day. Well, this is the same thing that we need to do when we're trying to move into new areas, so we can get clarity. And see, and this is clarity that you need to make the wisest possible choices and decisions, so you cannot fail. Let's continue on. What would you do if you couldn't fail? This is an awesome and incredible question. Why? Because it challenges us to question our limitlessness and our own limitations and imaginations, and to truly discover what our hearts truly desire. So you have to understand that you are made in the image and likeness of God. And in this image and likeness of God, God has created us to succeed. No matter what we put our hands to, we have the capacity to succeed in it. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, well, I haven't been succeeding in these areas. Why am I continue to fail? Because you're actually still succeeding, but you're just succeeding at failure. What you have to do is change your mindset. Just like what we discussed in the previous videos, and I encourage you to go through and listen to these videos over and over again. Repetition is a mighty factor. And the more you get this inside yourself, you can't look at something one time and think that you have it. When I'm learning something, I repeat it over and over and over again. I listen to the same videos hundreds of times, sometimes, until it gets down into my spirit, till it becomes a part of me, until I can recite the material almost verbatim. It's because I've taken the time to renew my mind. In the word it says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may understand what the good acceptable and perfect will of God is. And that's what happens is that it's through the renewing of our mind that we become a new person. As we renew our minds or start changing the inputs that we put inside of our minds, that the results that we start to experience in our life changes. It's the shifts that we make and our perspective. And sometimes the shift doesn't have to be super dramatic or anything. Sometimes it's just a slight shift, a slight pivot, a slight expansion in the bandwidth of how you perceive things can have a dramatic outcome of the results that you're achieving in your life. And that's what we were seeking. We're not trying to gain everything. We're trying to live the best possible life that we can live and become the best version of ourselves that we can be, to experience the greatest experiences that we want to have in our life, because that's what really makes life up, is the quality of our experiences. We don't want to continue to be trapped in this everyday self-imposed cage where we can't experience life to its fullest. Yeah. In order to be able to do that, we have to be able to change our mind. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, renewing how you see things, and no longer, accept yourself where you are. That's how you break free from these limitations. I'm not telling you this just because it sounds good or I'm trying to make a YouTube video. That's not my premise here. My premise is that I've lived this type of life. This is why I get the results that I get. It was when I started to change my thinking process that the results actually just started happening. And it happened just like clockwork. They're formulas that you use, which are principles that God has set out, really all throughout His Word, that get you success in business. Not only does it give you success in business, it gives you success in life in general. You start to see yourself in a totally different way when you see that you can actually gain the things that you've been really wanting to gain all this whole entire time. The world can become your oyster. It literally can. But it's not really according to how you really think that it's supposed to happen to you. When it starts to happen, it usually happens in ways outside of our typical ways of thinking. So when it starts to happen, you say, is this really it? Yes, this is it. But it's not going to be the way that you think that it's going to happen. I didn't expect the results that I've gotten in my life until I started to apply spiritual principles to physical, real-world situations. I always read these principles all the time. All of us have. We've been exposed to them most of our lives. But it's when we don't put works to them. See, faith without works is absolutely dead. You'll get no results just sitting up talking about stuff or even writing it down. Or we keep watching videos and we need more answers and before we actually take foot or put action to what we've been working on. It's just the law of action. The law of action states that you have to act first before a result comes to you. It's in line with all the rest of the principles, because all principles and truths are in alignment with each other. They never contradict each other. That way you can take a truth from one area of life and then place it in another area of life and it'll still work. You can take the laws of like I learned from my mentor, that he took the laws of flight and he applied it to his own business model. And guess what? His business took off. Yes, it's learning to understand principles, spiritual principles that operate and control actually the physical realm. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to gain access to higher levels of, of results, because that's what you're seeking ultimately is results. What would you do if you couldn't fail? Start asking yourself that question seriously, and separate yourself from all your distractions, your cell phone, close the kids out, whatever you have to do. Whoever's disturbing you, and get your mind clear so you can hear these answers when they start to come to you. Have your pencil and paper ready to write down the answers to your own situation, because no one knows your situation better than you. And this is for you. It's not for anybody else. It's for you. You have to become selfish in this pursuit of understanding who you are. Because if you don't, you're going to carry the things that have been sabotaging your life up to this point with you into your success. If you don't eliminate those things, you have to plan on, when you planting a garden, you clear away all the rubbish and all the things, the distractions and all the things that no longer serve you anymore. Those things are not important to you. Some of them relationships that they're involved with, those things are not serving you. You have an affection, because people are going to do 4 activities in your life. They're either going to add to your life or subtract from your life. They're either going to divide your life or multiply your life. Now, you have to be able to use your power of discernment, which God gives every human being, of what this person is doing in your life. Now, sometimes I have people in my life right now, I love them to death, but guess what? They're not going the same place that I'm going to. And I can't take them with me, because if I do, they will sabotage my results. And I'm not saying these close people in your life, I'm not saying get rid of your husband or your kids or anything like that. But you have to limit their influence in your choices and decisions. And if they're not on board with where you're going, you have to make choices and decisions that you have to really pray about. And that's why you have to have a good spiritual connection. So you're making wise choices that are in line with biblical and spiritual principles. So, because you're not here to harm any other person. God gives us the ability to have and do anything we want in our lives, as long as it's not interfering with His plans and hurting other people. Because we're ultimately here to please Him, serve other people, and to operate in the purpose in which we were designed to come to this planet to do. What would you do if you couldn't fail? What are some of the things that you would have? What would be some of the activities you would be achieving? What would be some of the things that you would be stopped doing right now? When you start thinking this way, you start to shift and pivot the way you see reality and your ability to accomplish these things in your life. I want to keep this video short, and I want to thank you for taking the opportunity to watch it. I'll be more consistent in my ability to start producing videos in this same vein. Until that time, be successful in whatever you set your hands to, in peace. Thank you.